claim that I'll be refuting today is that spending 4 years to receive an undergraduate degree to continue on to 4 more years of medical school is completely unnecessary. The advocate's first secondary claim is that focusing on a major will distract from the prerequisites needed for med school. Their second secondary claim is that remaining in college for an extra 2 years will increase student debt. And the third secondary claim is that medical schools look for students with universal knowledge and that their prerequisites cover universal education. Okay, the counterclaim I'll be making is that the undergraduate programs and the time it takes to receive the degree is actually beneficial to the students and necessary. Many students decide to change their majors or decide just to pursue different goals during their undergraduate education and just drop out entirely. According to Dr. Fritz Group, around 80% of college-bound students have yet to choose a major that they will stick with. And only 56 of students who enter American colleges or universities graduate within 6 years, according to a study done with, by Harvard University. And then the rest either drop out or just decide to go to work. How this relates to pre-med students is that according to the National Center of Education Statistics, out of the 1.6 million bachelor's degrees given in the 09-010 school year, around 130,000 of them, which is almost 10% of the student population, received it in pre-med related majors. So no doubt that without an undergraduate program, there would be a significant increase in the amount of dropouts in medical schools without the undergraduate programs to filter out those simply not cut out for higher education. And then according to the advocate, this would cost, med school costs between $100,000 to $300,000, and the price would be significantly higher to drop out from med school than it would to be from undergraduate studies, and which is around 20,000 average. And then the claim that says that most med school prerequisites don't have the that look for students with a universal knowledge, and that their prerequisites cover universal education. My counterclaim to that is that most med schools prerequisites actually don't have the equivalent amount of classes that would be required for a GED. According to Harvard's med school's website, University of Minnesota's med school website, as well as Johns Hopkins medical website, the required courses are biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and one class of humanities and writing. Compare this to Cal Poly's own GED requirements. This is substantially less. Cal Poly's requirements are 4 units of expository writing, 4 units of oral communication, 4 units of reasoning, argumentation, and writing, as opposed to the 1 expository writing course for the prerequisites. There's also 16 units of arts and humanities courses for the Cal Poly GED, and 16 units of society and individual areas to even meet for the Cal Poly requirements, as opposed to the 1/4 of humanities or social classes as a prerequisite for med school. And then prerequisite, so in conclusion, the undergraduate education is beneficial and a necessary step before entering med school. Thank you.
Well, the The topic area is listed, but I tell you, at some points it seems to me like you're almost arguing the issue from the advocate's point of view. When you talk about that last section, for instance, and you say that the med school requirements are lower than the undergraduate requirements are to get a degree here, for instance, at Cal Poly, that seems to be exactly what the advocate was saying, and that the med schools don't need all this stuff, and so spending all this extra time here is a waste for their purposes. What you needed, I think, was some information that showed that the GE requirements that go beyond what the med schools require have some importance and validity to them, and I didn't really get that. I just got the argument that they exist, and that's what the advocate said in the first place, so I'm not sure how that argument addresses that issue. Now, the argument that talks about dropping out and those sorts of things, I think there's an inference here that's being made that says that the whole undergraduate process is being used as a filter for the med school. So in other words, if you couldn't get through 4 years of an undergraduate, then you wouldn't be able, that you wouldn't be able to get through medical school. And so in essence, this is a testing ground for people, that getting through an undergraduate degree is a demonstration that somebody is capable of meeting those requirements. And I think that that's a pretty good idea for an argument, but it needs to be a little bit more clearly stated than what you've stated here. I think it's a little bit confusing. And I didn't really hear much argument about the advocate's evidence and reasoning on these points. You gathered a lot of good information to support your positions, which I think is admirable, but you want to make sure that you also put it in the context of the arguments that the advocate's presenting. The one statistic that was kind of interesting to me is if we got 1.7 million bachelor's degrees being awarded, and 130,000 of them, or as you said, nearly 10%. Am I doing the math right there? Almost 10% are in pre-med categories. That means 1 out of 10 people in the undergraduate programs are going to be competing for these sorts of things. That's where we need that screening. So there's another reason for needing that screening, and I think you've got the argument there, but you're not making the claim from it. And it really feels like you've got data that's applicable here, but you're not completing the argument. All right, thank you.